Thank you. Welcome to the February 16, 2022 Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Subcommittee. I want to welcome everybody, and we first start with call to the public. Do we have any speakers today?
Chair Stark, member of the subcommittees, we do not have anybody registered for public comment today.
Thank you. Then let's move along. So the first item of business is approval of the minutes.
I would move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think I got it. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries unanimously. The next items are on consent. That would be items 2, 3, and 4.
I move to approve the consent items.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Our next items are for info only. They're items 5 through 11. Does anyone have any questions on those items? Okay, we can move on then to item 12, Drought Resiliency Infrastructure Program Update. I think Troy will be joining us.
Yes, Madam Chair. Troy Hayes, Water Services Director, will introduce his team for the presentation on this item.
Thank you.
Good morning. Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee, we are here this morning to give a project update on the Drought Infrastructure Program. As you recall, the City of Phoenix has additional water resources to manage through the drought, but what we did lack was the infrastructure to move it to the correct locations of the city that need it. This council moved ahead with installation of that infrastructure, and the Water Services Department has been working diligently on the design construction of those projects. But as you can imagine, installing a 66-inch pipeline through neighborhoods down and across major streets has its challenges. I have with me today the Assistant Director, Brandy Kelso, and Deputy Water Services Director over the Water Engineering section, Darlene Helm, to discuss our progress and the traffic challenges that we have to overcome.
Thank you, Director Hayes. Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. Before we get into the status of the project, I wanted to give you a little background to remind you about the need for the project. Phoenix's water system is basically split into two systems, with the area south of the Arizona Canal generally served by Salt and Verde River water, delivered through the Salt River Project canals, and the area north of the Arizona Canal served by Colorado River, delivered through the Central Arizona Project canals. We're currently in drought conditions on the Colorado River system, and to ensure that we can continue to serve customers in the northern area, infrastructure is needed to move water from 24th Street and Deer Valley water treatment plants and utilize Salt and Verde River water to the areas of Phoenix that depend on Colorado River water. The approximately $300 million improvement program includes 12 miles of new pipelines and 4 booster pump stations. The project is on schedule to be complete in December of 22 with commissioning in early 23 and a full demand testing in the summer of 23 ahead of any other drought conditions. The map on the right here shows the general area of where infrastructure improvements are under construction. For project number 1 near Glendale Avenue and State Route 51, the 48-inch line has been installed. The pipeline along Granada Park is complete with restoration of the area ongoing, and 90% of the 66-inch pipe has been constructed in the equestrian trail. Project 2 is ongoing along 32nd Street between Shea and Bell Road and is approximately 50% complete. Project 3 is a new 42-inch water line in 35th Avenue from Thunderbird to Greenway, and this project is designed and complete in design, but construction is tentatively scheduled for January 2024. The 4 pump stations are shown with blue stars on the map, and Deputy Director Darlene Helm will give you a status of their construction progress. Okay, thank you, Assistant Director Kelso. So in addition to the pipeline construction, construction is underway at the booster pump stations, which help move or pump the water to the areas in the system where it is needed. So the work at the 24th Street Water Treatment Plant booster pump station is about 40% complete, with major piping being placed as seen in the photo on the left. The work at the booster pump station located on 31st Street, south of Bell Road, is 35% complete, with the underground work underway, including all the conduits for wiring shown in this picture on the top right. And then work at the booster pump station on Central Avenue, south of Deer Valley, is about 15% complete, with the major pipeline connections complete in Deer Valley Road and restoration ongoing, as seen in the photo in the bottom right. The Water Services Department has worked with the Arts and Culture Division to hire an artist for the new booster pump station wall at the 24th Street Water Treatment Plant along the south side of Maryland, across from Granada Park. So Mary Schindel was the artist selected and has created the art wall, which she calls Monsoon Poppy. Her inspiration for the art came from the monsoon poppy, which blooms after summer rains, and also from historical embroidery patterns. So the art will be made up of integral colored block, which creates the patterns seen in this rendering on the screen. And you can also see in more detail in this enlargement. The city worked closely with the Citizens Law Enforcement Anti-Graffiti Initiative members to ensure graffiti prevention measures were also addressed. So now we're looking at the project area 1, which is in the area near SR 51 and Glendale Avenue. The areas in green show where work is complete. The current work locations are shown in red, and with the next work area shown in yellow, and then the upcoming construction in blue. So the installation of the 48-inch pipeline along 20th Street is complete, and the 48-inch pipeline rehabilitation in the preserve is also complete, with landscape restoration ongoing. Crews are continuing to install the 66-inch pipeline in the preserve moving north. The crews are currently working in the area shown in the middle, in the area in red, which is just north of the Equestrian Trail or the Pearl Charles Memorial Trail. They will be moving north to the area shown in yellow in the middle of the map next. So up at the top of the map is the area shown in red is the Northern Avenue frontage road, which continues to be closed between 26th Street and 32nd Street, except for school bus pickup and drop-off at the Mercury Mines School, while crews work on the SR 51 tunneling and pipeline installation on the frontage road. We expect traffic control to stay in place until September of 2022. The other area that the crews are currently working are on Glendale Avenue, which is the area shown in red at the bottom of this map. Crews are installing the pipeline across Glendale Avenue, and obviously this requires major traffic restrictions on Glendale to make that work happen. So traffic control was set up just this past Monday on February 14th to allow for that excavation and the installation of the pipeline in Glendale Avenue at 21st Street. So this image on the screen is showing a depiction of the current traffic control on Glendale Avenue west of SR 51, with the area in red showing the construction work zone. Traffic on Glendale is being maintained but is restricted to one lane in each direction. The crosswalk at 21st Street has been deactivated due to the construction activities in this area. Traffic safety staff have been placed at 20th Street, 21st Street, and along the pedestrian path to ensure pedestrians are using the safe crossing at the 22nd Street traffic light. So the construction here will be divided into 2 phases, and the total construction will be about 6 weeks long.
But in the first phase, the traffic, as shown in this depiction, will be on the north side of Glendale Avenue. And then during phase 2, traffic will be moved to the south side of Glendale Avenue as the construction moves north. We are also going to take this opportunity to install some sewer lining of an existing aging sewer main in the area to limit the impact to the community. And we continue to coordinate with the community and work through traffic impacts in this area. So this map is showing the area along 32nd Street from Shea to Bell, which is our project area 2. So again, the areas in green are showing where the work is complete. The current work locations are shown in red, with the next work areas in yellow and then blue. So in the northern section of 32nd Street, the crews are working on Greenway between 31st Street and 32nd Street and will be there until April. They will then move to 32nd Street from Glendale to Acoma. That's the area in yellow, where they will be working until August of 2022. The crews will then move to the area from Acoma to Thunderbird, shown in blue, from August to October of 2022. They're also working along 32nd Street between Cactus and Altadena, where they'll be until April, and then moving to the area from Altadena to Choya, where they'll be until the end of May 2022. The crews will then be in the area between Choya and Shea, as shown in blue, until September of 2022. And then this map is showing the current traffic control on 32nd Street. This is just north of Cactus, with one lane in each direction on the west side of the road. So construction is along 32nd Street is anticipated to be complete by fall of 2022. So work and traffic restrictions for the 66-inch pipeline have affected the traveling public and businesses and schools along 32nd Street. But we have been working closely with many of those impacted as the traffic restriction have moved along 32nd Street. So one example is the Basis Phoenix School, which is located on 32nd Street, where they have their main access. We've worked closely with your office, Chairwoman Stark, to come up with a solution for the school pickup and drop off during construction. So in order to minimize traffic backup along 32nd Street, at the beginning, in January 3rd, the beginning of the school year here in January, the basis student drop off and pickup was, can also be along the 31st Street, as shown with the green arrows on the map on the left. So drivers can access this area from both Shea and Cactus on 30th Street, and then they can use Sunnyside Drive and then north along 31st Street. And this new traffic pattern will stay in place until May or the end of the school year. So this took some coordination with the school and street transportation department, who had to temporarily remove no parking signs along 31st Street. But the residents in the area were informed of this temporary traffic change and were told to expect heavy traffic Monday through Friday during that drop-off and pickup times. So the goal is to be complete with traffic control restrictions in front of the Basis Phoenix School prior to the start of the 22-23 school year. So work continues on Deer Valley Road at Central Avenue in order to construct the large piping you see in the photo on the left. These pipelines will supply water to the new booster pump station on Central Avenue, as shown in the blue, with the blue circle on the map there on the right side. So this photo shows what the area looks like now as crews continue to work on backfilling the large excavation and reinstalling utilities in this area. So this image is showing the traffic control in place, redirecting traffic onto a temporary roadway on aviation property with one lane in each direction. So water services and aviation worked for several months, having countless meetings coordinating this temporary roadway, and we appreciate all the help that we receive from staff at the Deer Valley Airport. The traffic control in this area is expected to be in place until June of 2022. So as you can imagine, we've been doing a lot of outreach with this project. And the project team began reaching out to schools and other stakeholders in the affected areas in early 2019 to introduce the project and receive customer and resident input. So since then, we've had an extensive communication efforts, and they continue. So this, our outreach program includes, as you see there on the right, an app that was developed for the project. We also have a project website and hotline. We also want to share a few statistics. So in 2021, we prepared more than 85 unique construction notices that were either hand-delivered or mailed. We held over 400 business meetings in the project area along 32nd Street. The project team has also received, responded to, and documented more than 300 hotline calls. And we continue to send out weekly emails to over 900 email addresses on our project email list. And we continue to coordinate with faith-based institutions, businesses, and residents as construction progresses. I'm now going to turn the presentation back to Director Hayes to wrap up.
Yeah, I think, Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee, the overall takeaway is that the program increases the ability for the department and the city to move water where we have it to where we need it. The overall progress of the programs are scheduled to be completed by the end of the calendar year, ahead of any time that we would need those. So everything seems to be on track. And with that, we can take any questions.
Thank you. I appreciate everything you've done. This is a great example of working with our residents and businesses, keeping them informed. I will tell you, we've had some complaints, but not as many as I expected, because I know this is a huge project, but it's a critical project for our city. And I really do appreciate that the Water Services Department has stepped up and really have been able to communicate most frequently, probably on a daily basis, with the residents within the area and the businesses. Are there any questions? Well, great. Thanks again for the update. Our next item is on our concessions, food and beverage package. There are several. I think we're going to split them up.
Yes, Madam Chair. Aviation Services Director Chad Mikulski is here with his team, which he'll introduce, and they'll be presenting on items 13 through 16.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, we're really excited about the new Terminal 4 S1 concourse. It's set to open this summer. It's going to open with 8 brand new gates at Sky Harbor Airport and nearly 200,000 square feet of facilities and amenities and service offerings for our customers. Concessions are an essential service for our customers, and I'm grateful to all the proposers who submitted for the concessions opportunities we're presenting to you here today. The strength of these proposals, especially given the uncertainty of the pandemic, really does speak to the commitment that these business partners have to our airport and our community. We're bringing forward 4 packages for your consideration today, which will bring exceptional new concept offerings and service amenities for our customers. And to ensure efficient delivery of today's presentations, what we are doing is we're going to consolidate the food and beverage agenda items 13 and 14 into the first presentation, and then we'll have separate presentations for items 14, which is the retail concept, and item 15, which is the common use lounge concept. So joining me today on my team are Acting Assistant Aviation Director Jay DeWitt and Deputy Aviation Director of Contracts and Services Michael Hughes. I'll now turn the floor over to Jay, who can lead the discussion on items 13 and 14, which is packages 1 and 2 of the Food and Beverage Awards. Jay?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. The diagram you're looking at now is the new S1 concourse at Terminal 4. It's currently under construction and scheduled to open this summer. And on it, you can see the gates there sticking out with the jet bridges. And there are a number of retail and food and beverage outlets that will be on that new concourse when it opens. The floor plan shows in green and purple the restaurants and retail shops. And airport concession procurements usually start about 2 years before those restaurants and shops are scheduled to open. Unfortunately, the pandemic delayed the start of this procurement and also influenced the concession phasing. Due to the uncertain nature of the airport's recovery, we're bringing in the new concourses concessions in 2 phases. Phase 1 in green represents food and beverage concessions the subcommittee is considering today. Phase 2 in purple represent food and beverage concessions that will be procured at a future date. And this will ensure that passenger needs are met when the new concourse opens without over-programming in the early operation. Retail shops are also being phased in a similar manner, with Phase 1 of the retail package in blue and Phase 2 in pink. Concession space build-outs take around 1 year to complete, and the delayed start of the procurement will require concessionaires to operate out of kiosks for several months while their tenant improvements are progressing behind temporary construction walls. This will ensure passengers have retail opportunities and something to eat on the concourse's opening day. We're submitting 2 food and beverage packages for the subcommittee's consideration today. The first of these is a 7,706 square foot food hall located in the north end of the concourse. And the second is a 1,540 square foot coffee bar in between the gates. All of the airport's concession packages are encouraged to include small businesses as partners, but at just over 1,500 square feet and with minimal capital requirements, the coffee bar was specifically developed for a small business. Deputy Aviation Director Michael Hughes will manage the procurement process for all of the aviation's procurements and will further describe the food and beverage proposal and the staff's recommendation. Michael.
Thank you, Chad and Jay. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to present the procurement portion of this presentation for food and beverage packages 1 and 2. Aviation received authorization from Phoenix City Council to issue this procurement on March 17th of 2021, and the procurement was issued on May 27th of 2021. Solicitation goals were provided to potential respondents for this revenue contract solicitation, and some of these goals include to raise the quality and variety of food and beverage options at Phoenix Sky Harbor, increase opportunities for local and small businesses, and to include local and regional and national concepts. And we do have some other goals, and these include the following. These are determined through consultation with our concessions consultant, assessment of our concession needs and potential conflicts, industry trends, and a passenger survey results managed by our aviation department's airport consultant. The same 6 criteria were evaluated for through consensus for packages 1 and 2 by an evaluation panel, and they include the following criteria. Selection was based on the entire response and the evaluation criteria, and not solely on the highest financial return to the city, but the best value to the city. Packages 1 and 2 evaluation panels were both the same. They were diverse in experience. They included a member of our Phoenix Aviation Advisory Board, a concessions business relations manager from Los Angeles International Airport, a concessions manager from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, a representative from our Business and Properties Division, and a representative from our Design Construction Services Division. 2 responses were received for Package 1. Both were deemed responsive and moved to panel evaluation. Through panel consensus scoring, the Grove was recommended for award. The Grove, Inc. consists of 5 subtenants, and if you look at this diagram, starting from the upper left and moving clockwise, we have Chick-fil-A, EG's, which is a local concept featuring sandwiches, grinders, and frozen drinks, Pedal House Brewery, also a local concept featuring traditional beers and rustic pizza, Bobby's Burgers, a regional concept featuring burgers from celebrity chef Bobby Flay, and Barry Devine, a local concept featuring acai bowls, smoothies, and superfoods. The Grove was recommended, and these are the key members of the Grove and their affiliates. A representative from the Grove is available today for questions and comments. Based on the last disparity study, Phoenix Sky Harbor and the Equal Opportunity Department determined disparity does not exist in the local market, and therefore Phoenix is not required to set an airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise, or small business participation goals. However, we do strongly recommend and encourage small business outreach, and we do maintain aspirational goals. In this proposal, the Grove has voluntarily committed to a small business participation rate of 40%. This contract term for Package 1 is for 10 years. The RCS required a first-year minimum annual guarantee of $383,100 or greater. The Grove proposed an $850,000 first-year MAG. In addition, the Grove proposed a capital investment of $5.2 million, which met the minimum $450 per square foot initial capital investment requirement. For Package 2, we received 3 responses. All 3 were deemed responsive and moved to panel evaluation. Through panel consensus scoring, Emerging Domestic Ventures LLC was recommended for award. Emerging Domestic Market Ventures LLC, which is an ACDBE, and Sip Coffee and Beer will also be partnering with multiple local and regional concept and a national company. These are minority and women-owned businesses featuring cold brew coffee, fresh ground coffee, and a variety of beverages, empanadas, and pastries. These are the key members of the Emerging Domestic Market Ventures LLC, and we have a representative from EDMV available today for questions and comments. As with Package 1, there is no requirement to set ACDBE, DBE, or small business participation goals. In this proposal, EDMV has voluntarily committed to a small business participation rate of 10%. The contract term for Package 2 is the same as Package 1, 10 years. The RCS required a first-year minimum annual guarantee of $77,400 or greater. Emerging Domestic Market Ventures LLC proposed $115,000 for their first-year MAG. In addition, EDMV proposed a capital investment of $693,000, which met the minimum $450 per square foot initial capital investment requirement. And with that, Aviation requests that the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Planning Subcommittee recommend to City Council to enter into food and beverage leases with the Grove, Inc. for Package 1 and Emerging Domestic Market Ventures, LLC for Package 2. Thank you, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We have a couple speakers. Why don't we take those first, and then if we have any questions from the subcommittee.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, our first speaker is Gonzalo de la Milena. Are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes,
sir.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, Chairwoman Stark and members of the subcommittee. Super excited to be part of this. As it relates to Package 2, I wanted to thank City of Phoenix Aviation leadership for creating this first time ever small business direct lease program. This allows small and local business operators like myself to compete amongst peers of its own size. I am Gonzalo de la Milena. I have a 7-year track record as an operator, ACDB operator, in the QSR category, quick service restaurants, serving the Southwest Airlines guest, currently on S4. I'm homegrown in the Sky Harbor system. I started with one 1,200 square foot taco shop, and I mortgaged my entire home and all of my 401k savings to get my first $1 million loan. I'm excited to be able to pay it forward and now include more than a dozen other local small businesses in my program. Native American Coffee, Tres Leches Coffee, Hispanic owned, woman owned Wild Tonic Kombucha, women owned Half Moon Empanadas, veteran owned Coffee, and woman-owned Salute Eats, who's doing our pastry program. It's an honor to pay it forward and be a reflection of the community. And so excited to bring the Sip Coffee brand, where people come to work and play, artists display work, and charities promote causes. Sip is a coffee shop, a tap house, a cocktail bar, and a restaurant with a real sense of community. And honored to be part of this program and won't let you down. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments and thanks to your risk taking. Our next speaker.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, our next speaker is Nina Madonia. Nina, are you on the line?
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
you
can.
may proceed.
Hi there. Thank you so much, members of council, Mr. Hughes. We really appreciate your time today. I am Nina Madonia. I am CEO of The Grove and a co-owner. We are a women-owned business. And I want to first just express our gratitude and excitement for this opportunity. I have a long history with the city of Phoenix. I attended college there. I own a second home there. And to be able to bring my business to Phoenix is a great honor, and it's honestly a dream come true. So we feel we have such a wonderful mix of concepts for Phoenix, including the Bobby Flay's, Celebrity Bobby's Burgers, Pedal House. I think I've seen Pedal House, a brew from their restaurant on almost every menu in the Valley, which is great. And I think it'll bring excitement to the airport. We are a 40-year-old company, very humble beginnings, much like Gonzalo. Started as roasted nuts and snacks in kiosks. And we have grown now to be a multi-brand operator in over 12 airports currently, the biggest and busiest airports in the country, as well as 3 railway stations. Again, we are dedicated to the city of Phoenix, to the community, to be doing our best and be a great venue partner there. And really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. I think that's all the speakers that we have for those 2 items. Are there any comments or questions from the subcommittee? Okay, then may I get an action, a motion?
Motion to approve, Chairwoman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Do we need to take then a separate motion for item 14, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair, if we can get a second motion for item 14.
Perfect. Okay.
I move to approve item 14, Chairwoman.
Okay. Have a
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries unanimously. We're on now to item 15.
And Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, item 15 relates to the retail offering at the Terminal 4 S1 concourse. And to lead that discussion, again, Jay DeWitt, Assistant Aviation Director.
Morning again, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. I will now present the retail package. The Phase 1 retail package is composed of a 2,807 square foot news and convenience shop and a 1,257 square foot technology store. These 2 retail stores are both located on the north end of the S1 concourse, which is under construction and scheduled to open this summer. Again, Michael Hughes will walk us through the proposal and staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Jay. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. The solicitation goals and evaluation criteria for the retail concessions RCS were the same as the food and beverage packages 1 and 2, and Phoenix Council authorized aviation to issue this procurement on March 17th of 2021. 5 responses were received. All 5 were deemed responsive and moved to panel evaluation. Through panel consensus scoring, the Marshall Retail Group, LLC, was recommended for award. The Marshall Retail Group, LLC, consists of MRG Phoenix 1 LLC DBA Uptown Phoenix, and an MRG Phoenix 2 LLC DBA In Motion. The organizational structure consists of the Marshall Retail Group LLC at 65%, Casa Unlimited Enterprises Inc., which is an ACDBE, at 25%, Changing Hands Bookstore Inc. at 5%, and Melrose Pharmacy LLC at 5%. These are the key members of the Marshall Retail Group LLC, and a representative from MRG is available today for questions and comments. Like the food and beverage RCSs, there is no required ACDBE, DBE, or small business participation goal. MRG formed a joint venture with Casa Unlimited, Changing Hands Bookstore, and Melrose Pharmacy, and has voluntarily committed to a small business participation rate of 25% for the retail space number 1. In addition, MRG formed a joint venture with Casa Unlimited and has voluntarily committed to a small business participation rate of 35% for retail space number 2. Contract term is for 10 years. The RCS required a first-year minimum annual guarantee of $314,500 or greater. MRG proposed a $1 million first-year MAG. In addition, MRG proposed capital investment of $2.8 million, which met the minimum $450 per square foot initial capital investment requirement. With that, Aviation requests the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Planning Subcommittee recommend to City Council to enter into a retail concessions lease with the Marshall Retail Group, LLC. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we have one speaker on this item.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, we have one person registered in support of the item. Ziad El Assad, are you on the line? Ziad, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Having a hard time.
All right, let me see if I can get...
There, better.
Yeah. Is that any better?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Well, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm Ziad El Assad, the Senior Vice President of Business Development for the Marshall Retail Group. On behalf of our entire organization, and including our local business partners, Joya Kaiser of Casa Unlimited, Gail Shanks and Cindy Dock of Changing Hands Bookstore, and Teresa Dickinson of Melrose Pharmacy, we are thrilled and excited to expand our retail presence in Phoenix Sky Harbor and to create a unique retail experience within the new S1 concourse with our locally focused Uptown Phoenix retail marketplace and the adjacent In Motion electronics store. We were thrilled with the process that the aviation department put forth during the procurement process, and we thank you for the opportunity today.
Thank you. It's just a weird coincidence, but my maiden name is Wilkins, but I assure you I'm not related to Mr. Wilkins. I think I've ever met him, so I think I'm free to vote on this. But do we have any comments or any questions? Okay, let's take a motion then.
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 15.
Okay, do we have
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries unanimously. So we are on to item 16.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, item 16 is the Terminal 4 S1 Concourse Common Use Airport Lounge, and we're very excited about this opportunity as we have no lounge access on the south side of Terminal 4 at Sky Harbor Airport. To lead this discussion again, Jay DeWitt, Acting Assistant Aviation Director. Jay?
Thank you, Chad. As Chad said, Sky Harbor has lounges at both of its air passenger terminals, but currently has none on the south side of Terminal 4. This proposal is for a 3,500 square foot common use lounge across from the food hall on the north end of the future S1 concourse. Unlike airline-specific or other dedicated lounges, the proposal is for a common use lounge that any passenger may access for a fee. Again, Michael Hughes will walk us through the proposal and staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Jay. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Aviation received authorization from Phoenix City Council to issue the procurement on March 17th of 2021, and the procurement was issued on May 27th of 2021. Most of the solicitation goals for the common use airport lounge were the same as the goals in the food and beverage and retail RCSs, with the exception of the following: developing a modern and sustainable world-class facility, and offering access to all customers for a fee. Like the previous procurements, these goals are determined through consultation with our concessions consultant, assessment of our concession needs, industry trends, and passenger survey results. 5 criteria were evaluated through consensus by an evaluation panel. Selection was based on the entire response in the evaluation criteria for the best value to the city. The evaluation panel was both diverse in experience and included a representative from our Facilities and Services Division, a concessions business relations manager from Los Angeles International Airport, a representative from our Public Relations Divisions, and 2 representatives from the Phoenix Convention Center. 4 responses were received, 3 were deemed responsive and moved to panel evaluation. Through panel consensus scoring, the AD Partnership, LLC, DBA, Sapphire Lounge by the Club was recommended for award. ADA Partnership, LLC, DBA, Sapphire Lounge by the Club consists of primary partners of Airport Dimensions, Sodexo, and EDM Ventures, LLC. Their ACDBE partner is Hyde Park Hospitality and JP Morgan Chase, committed to supporting the financial proposal. The lounge does allow for general admittance for a fee. They offer discount programs for certain organizations, and they allow access to Sapphire Reserve card holders and Priority Pass members. These are the key members of the AD Partnership, LLC. And we have a representative from the Airport Dimensions today that's available for questions and comments. There are no ACDBE, DBE, or small business participation goals. In this proposal, the Sapphire Lounge by the Club did not have a requirement to commit to a small business participation percentage at the time of submittal, but they are required to submit their commitment within 60 days from the date City Council awards the contract. This contract term is for 10 years. The RCS required a first-year minimum annual guarantee of $250,000 or greater. The Sapphire Lounge by the Club proposed $1.8 million for the first-year MAG. In addition, Sapphire proposed a capital investment of $5 million, which met the minimum $250 per square foot initial capital investment requirement. And with that, Aviation requests that the Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Subcommittee recommend to City Council to enter in a lounge concessions with AD Partnership, LLC. Thank you, and we can answer any questions.
Thank you. I believe we have one speaker for item 16.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, Chris Gwilliam is registered in support. Chris, are you on the line?
Yeah, good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Great. Well, Chairwoman Stark and members of the subcommittee, we would also like to express, our massive excitement, and we're absolutely thrilled to be able to develop the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the Club at Phoenix Sky Harbor. A little bit about us, Airport Dimensions, we're the leading shared use lounge operator in the US. We've got a network of over 37 global lounges and 15 years of experience in US airports. We currently operate in large hubs such as Boston, Orlando, Seattle, Atlanta, DFW, Las Vegas, and London Heathrow, and many more. We're owned by a parent company, Collinson, and they are the creators and the owners of the Priority Pass Lounge membership program. That lounge membership program has over 20 million members. This is important for Phoenix because currently there is no provision for that membership base, and there is no lounge for those members. And so this has been a huge a huge gap for us. And so we're very excited, and we think that will be a massive increase to your passenger experience. In the concept itself, we work very hard with EDMV and Gonzalo, who is our partner, to really reflect and embrace the identity of Phoenix, which you'll see in our design, our choice of artwork, and also in the food and beverage in the lounge as well. And most importantly, and I think for this committee specifically, we are incredibly happy to be supporting over 20 different local vendors across our art portfolio and food and beverage products as well. Our ACDB plan, as mentioned, includes partnerships with EDMV, and we'll also be using Hyde Park Hospitality as our staffing provider to provide staffing and employment opportunities through our minority business enterprise. And I think what was really important and hopefully came through in our proposal is we are incredibly committed to creating a quality workplace environment for our employees. Our compensation and benefits packages, we believe, are industry leading, and we know right now it's a very difficult time. And so we think we'll have a meaningful contribution and be able to recruit accordingly. Thanks again.
You're on mute, Chairwoman.
Pardon me, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? Then I'll take a motion.
I move to approve item 16.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? It passes unanimously. Now we are on to item 17.
Yes, Madam
I just
Chair.
want to, before we get started, I want to note to staff, since this was Stacy's petition, let's grant her some additional time to speak. Generally, we limit the speakers to 2 or 3 minutes, but let's give her 5. Thank you. When it's time to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this item 17 is the consideration of the citizen petition related to action items on procedures for unsheltered residents. And Gina Montes, Deputy City Manager, is here to introduce this item and the team that will be presenting.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee. We're here this morning to update you on our progress regarding the street cleanings around the Human Services campus and to respond to the citizen petition provided to the City Council. With me is Marshall Franklin, Human Services Director. We have Scott Hall as well, who is our interim Deputy Human Services Director, and Joe Giudice, Public Works Director. So I'll turn the presentation over to Marshall.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager Montes. Good morning, Chairwoman Stark and members of the subcommittee. As Deputy City Manager Montes stated, we're here to discuss with you a petition with 10 considerations. I do want to note before I begin that the language is taken directly from the petition. The 10 considerations are no further displacement of individuals or their tents during cleanups at unsheltered encampments, provide at least 2 bathroom and hand washing or amenity stations near 9th Avenue and 12th Avenue, provide access to clean, potable water at amenity stations, remove chains, poles, and no trespassing signs, provide additional waste receptacles and empty more frequently, provide push brooms, dustpans, cleaning supplies, garbage bags, masks, and hand sanitizer, provide safe, dry storage solution for individuals' extra belongings, reiterate Phoenix PD to stop harassing unsheltered people and those conducting street outreach, install more pedestrian signage or additional measures to protect pedestrians attempting to cross at 10th Avenue and 12th Avenue in Jefferson, and finally, create a solutions-focused group, including those with lived experience, to gather best practices. The city conducts cleanups in order to maintain a safe and healthy environment for those who are living unsheltered around the Human Services campus and also for the surrounding residents and businesses. Cleaning of the street, sidewalk, and right-of-way occurs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the areas of 9th Avenue to 12th Avenues, Madison, and Jackson Streets. The cleaning begins at 8 a.m. with notifications beginning at 6 a.m. for individuals to move their belongings so that cleaning can occur. City crews and contractors are responsible for removing trash and waste from these areas. And the police department's only role is to provide safety, security, and traffic control in the area. Restrooms are open to the public and for use by individuals experiencing homelessness at the Human Services Campus Brian Garcia Welcome Center. And in December 2021, restroom hours were expanded to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Brian Garcia Welcome Center is located at 12th Avenue in Madison, and a Human Services Campus identification card is not required to use the restrooms. Steps are being taken to add additional bathrooms adjacent to the sprung structure located at 9th Avenue and Jackson Street. These bathrooms will have an external entrance, and a Human Services Campus ID card would not be required. The bathrooms will have standard and ADA compliant stalls, hand washing sinks, and will come online in conjunction with the opening of the sprung structure. The city is working with the Human Services Campus to locate a potable water station on the campus near 9th Avenue and Jackson Street. And with the other services that I mentioned, a Human Services Campus ID will not be required to access the water station. As it relates to chains, poles, and no trespassing signs, those were installed to alleviate and mitigate COVID-19 and other public health concerns raised by our residents and impacted businesses. These efforts are designed to limit congregation of individuals and assist in keeping the streets, sidewalks, and alleyways clean. I will now turn the presentation over to Joe.
Thank you, Marshall. Good morning, Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee. Waste receptacles and frequency of collection was the fifth item in the petition. The Public Works Department's been providing supplementary waste collection services in and around the campus area for several years. And thanks to action from Mayor and Council, additional resources have recently been provided to Public Works to extend those services. What I thought I'd do is just walk you through how those services have changed over the last year. In January of last year, we were providing services of 4 bins on a 5-day-per-week schedule, Monday through Friday. Those bins are represented in the picture in the upper right corner. By July of last year, we recognized the need to increase the frequency of collection to include Saturdays, so we began collecting those bins on a 6-day-per-week schedule. In November of last year, we increased from 4 bins collected to 6 bins to provide more bin convenience. And then in February of this year, actually after our meeting last month, we've increased now to 10 bin locations, again, continuing to collect those on a 6-day collection schedule. Additionally, we have ordered, and actually I think they're being delivered, 2 pilot waste collection receptacles that are locking that we want to install in the campus area and in partnership with the Human Services Campus to see if that's a solution for future waste collection services. And waste collection services in the campus area is a partnership between the City of Phoenix and the Human Services Campus. In the special permit, there are stipulations that the Human Services Campus has regarding waste receptacles in terms of collection frequency and accessibility. And so we're working with the Human Services Campus now on implementation of those stipulations. And I will turn it to Scott.
Good morning, Chairwoman Stark and members of the subcommittee. Number 6, provide push brooms, dustpans, cleaning supplies, garbage bags, masks, hand sanitizer. Steps being taken. Purchase and provide to the Human Service Campus masks and garbage bags for distribution to those around the Human Services Campus. Number 7, provide safe storage solutions for individuals' extra belongings. Our current efforts are, the city has provided 300 new containers to the Human Services Campus for a safe storage program. Containers provide the ability to safely secure people's belongings, and there's mobility with those cans. This program started in December of 2021. These items can be accessed twice daily by clients that are utilizing them. And in addition, Andre House provides access to storage lockers at their facility. Number 8, Phoenix PD's involvement with those unsheltered and those conducting outreach. Current efforts are Community Bridges, Inc., a behavioral health and homeless service provider, conducts notifications on days of cleanup starting at 6 a.m. Phoenix PD's role is for managing safety around heavy equipment and traffic flow. Again, safety is the primary role for Phoenix PD. Number 9, install more pedestrian signage to protect pedestrians at 10th and 12th Avenues and Jefferson. Current efforts, fall of 2020, additional signs and high visibility markings on Jefferson between 8th and 13th Avenue. Unmarked crosswalks at 10th Avenue and 12th Avenue on Jefferson upgraded to high visibility markings and signage standards. Number 10, create a solutions-focused group, including those with lived experience, to gather best practices. Current efforts. The city implemented a strategies to address homelessness plan task force. Members in this task force included neighborhood leaders, business leaders, homeless service providers, healthcare providers, and individuals with lived experience. Additionally, there was a work group created to discuss how to improve cleanups around the campus. I'll now turn it back over to Director Franklin.
Thank you, Scott. Madam Chair and subcommittee members, this concludes our presentation, and we look forward to any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you. Why don't we start with the speakers, and why don't we start with Stacy, since it was her petition.
Stacy, are you on the line?
Hello, good morning. Chairwoman Stark, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
And members of the council. Good morning. My name is Stacy Champion. Thank you for taking your time. I did make a request to do a presentation, but was informed that wasn't possible. And also, and I'm sure another speaker is going to get in it in a little more detail, but just wanted to also point out the fact that there were many people who are currently unsheltered who did wish to give public comment, but because they don't have phones or access to internet, and I was told I couldn't pass my phone around to them to give public comment, they will not be giving public comment today, but just want you all to be aware of the barriers for people trying to engage with you who don't have the necessary tools to do so. I was down there this morning actually and had a small press conference and wanted to share a story of a woman who came up to speak with me right before the press conference started. This woman was very recently unsheltered. She was 72 years old. She had colon cancer and then breast cancer and is now living on the streets. I believe that how our society treats its most vulnerable residents is a huge indication as to what kind of society we are. I'm not sure how many of you go into this area regularly. I personally have been going down there for going on 14 years now. I have never seen it as bad as it is. And I can tell you that every single week, there are more and more and more people. With regard to the chains and poles, I can tell you that because they are there, people are either crammed together in the few areas where there are not chains and poles, or because now, I'm guessing a lot of it has to do with the fact that over 5,000 people were evicted in Maricopa County in January alone. People now, because there's just nowhere else to go, are setting up their tents on the sidewalks in the area because there is just not room for people. This isn't a today problem. I personally have been talking about our lack of affordable housing since at least 2015. I know that it is a complex issue. I know that I have seen more and more elderly people unsheltered, people with disabilities, veterans, which I know there was just a story that came out about our rise in homeless veterans. And we need some real leadership and some creative vision to move past this, because my fear is that it is only going to get worse and worse with no rent control, with just no place for these people to go. And it is my belief that everyone has a story. These are human beings. This petition is really about providing just the most basic dignity and sanitation remedies for the large number of people. I mean, if you look at the number of bathrooms that the city is proposing, there are currently over 700 people outside of campus on the streets. I want you to think about it as if you were having an event and how many bathrooms you would need to service people. Everyone poops. I can tell you that this morning I was still almost run over crossing the street. Nobody on Jefferson is yielding to pedestrians, even with those crosswalks. This is a citywide issue. It's not just a their issue, but it is a bigger concern for there, because you're talking about hundreds of people who don't have cars. So I don't know if it is, yield to pedestrian signs in the middle of the street, or flashing hawk lights or something, but people are driving at very high speeds and not yielding to pedestrians. I think that there is a humane way to clean, to empower the folks down there to clean. I think we need to lead with love and compassion, and we're going to see a shift in how we get through this issue. But I think it has to start with empathy. It has to start with compassion. It's only going to get worse. And I cry now when I come home every time after I'm down helping people. And thank you for your consideration. But we need to do more, and we need to do it much faster.
Thank you, Stacy, for your words. So our next speaker.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, Elizabeth Venable is our next speaker. Elizabeth,
Okay.
are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. Let me go away because we have the echo. Basically, what I wanted to say is that I'm glad that you are accommodating the street camper population more sufficiently, as opposed to treating them as people who are not worthy of bathrooms or water. I think that it's a big step to accommodate them as opposed to stigmatizing them. We are with Fund for Empowerment, which is basically a peer group. And we know many people, hundreds of people, who have had their property thrown away by the Phoenix Police Department. I personally talked to people who have had their parents' ashes thrown away, cancer medications. There was someone who testified in front of you all that had his cancer medications thrown away, things like that. And I think that as long as the sweeps are conducted the way they're conducted, there's always a threat of loss of property. And under the rulings, there should be threat of loss of property is truly abandoned. So people should be able from their property to attend appointments, to go to work, things like that. As long as it's not truly abandoned, you can't toss it. And I think you need more storage for the unsheltered population as opposed to just the CAS population. And I also think that these issues need to be attended to across the city, because there's like a paucity of resources for people that are on the streets, for example, in Sunny Slope, where we've interacted with many people. So that's the end of my comment. I think it's good that you guys are making steps to, rather than combat the population, to accommodate the population and realize that they're valuable human lives.
Our next speaker is Jeremy Thacker. Jeremy, are you on the line?
I am.
You may proceed.
Yes. Can you? Yeah, thanks. I just want to commend Stacy for the work that she's doing and say that I'm in complete support of it. I am very concerned about the process too of how this was handled. The fact that she wasn't able to give a presentation in response, and really the lack of response that the city staff gave to the particular issues, not really confirming or denying whether things were happening, saying that there were processes in place, but they were going to start enforcing those processes. It just seemed very non-committal. And the fact that, we've got this entire population that's getting so few resources handed to them. And I submitted a petition last week that showed that 1% of our population that does not need subsidy is using over $100 million worth of property that the city owns exclusively for their own entertainment. It's just, the equity in it is just incredible and needs to be, looked at holistically where the money's going. As we talk about building elite lounges in the airport, and they get to present on it, but not the unsupported population that we have here. So just want to say thanks to Stacy again, and I am full support.
Our next speaker is Faith Kearns. Faith, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. My name is Faith Kearns. I am with the group of Funds for Empowerment. And I want to thank you guys in your cooperation to put in more restrooms, more sanitation. We do greatly appreciate it. But what we need to actually work on is the ones that are handicapped and cannot get into the shelter. So you're dealing with the unsheltered. We don't have enough space to be able to build other buildings for the handicapped to get into, some form of shelter there. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to sleep on the streets because they've got nowhere else to go. And with that, I'll yield.
Our next speaker is Frank Urban. Frank, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. My name is Frank Urban. I am with Fund for Empowerment. I also would like to thank you guys for getting more sanitation out there, more bathrooms, and for making them available to everyone out there, not just the people with the CAS IDs. That is a big help, but I have been formerly homeless myself, and I've had my stuff thrown away by the police numerous times, and I just think there should be something, more storage there for them to be able to put their stuff into the storage bins so that the stuff is safe from the police and the city workers and anyone else that come out to do the cleanups. I guess I'll yield.
Thank you. Jessica Spencer is our next speaker. Jessica, are you on the line?
I am on the line. Thank you. Hello, my name is Jessica Spencer. I am a GI Bill student going to ASU for a degree in social work. I live close to the encampments, and thus I am an impacted individual with what's occurring down here. I wanted to talk a little bit about this presentation that you guys showed and how it seems to be just a response to Stacy, but she wasn't actually given any kind of opportunity to present herself, which I find intriguing that you guys are just showing up all your stuff, but then you make it so inaccessible for literally anybody who's actually impacted to come to these meetings. One, there's no American Sign Language interpreter or closed captioning, again, and I could use it. I have a disability that have an issue with processing audio. So this is an ongoing problem. And I know lots and lots of people who are disabled and have issues who can't access these meetings. I know that's not violating the ADA, or else we'll probably be able to sue you, but there's limited sign up time. You guys opened this 3 days ago, and then the people who are impacted the most, who don't typically have internet or a house to do all this stuff at, have only barely 3 days to maybe even go look at it. And then you're required to sit here and hope that you catch when somebody says your name, because once again, there's no freaking subtitles. There's no heads up, hey, we're going to be calling you within this time frame. All of this is just to make it difficult for those who are actually impacted to come to these meetings and tell you how you are screwing up their lives. I get to hear it because I go out there, because the city is failing so hard and I can't leave my house without encountering somebody who needs help. I listen to these stories and I hear them all the time. I know a woman who's elderly and disabled who doesn't leave her lean-to, and she doesn't go into CATS because she's scared. She's scared of everything that goes on in there, and she's not the only one. There is so much going on in that entire area that's disadvantaging everyone, and the laws that you people process when you don't even listen to those most impacted.
Our next speaker is Nicole Rodriguez. Nicole, are you on the line?
I am, thank you. Well, I actually have no thanks to provide. I'm in support of this petition, but what has been provided thus far are basic human rights. And a right is not something that is a want, it is a necessity. So there's no thanks to the city for providing that. That should have been provided a long time ago. We get what we invite. And this year we're expecting record-breaking heat-related deaths and roadway fatalities. There's too much victim blaming. And I'm looking at a panel of very healthy, advantaged people that have a lot more going on and that are refusing to engage with the public on this topic without providing the opportunity for someone who is a subject matter expert to have a presentation. And I'm referring to Stacy Champion. We do not have what we need for affordable housing on the discussions that are being asked of. As Stacy mentioned, it's a complex issue. So therefore we need an engaged steering committee or subcommittee on affordable housing. I understand that's probably hard for the bureaucrats at the table to understand, but that's why we're here speaking to council members today, because we rarely get that opportunity to have that face-to-face time like you guys do. And stop looking for the return on investments with this. That's Reagan politics. When you look for return on investments, you're looking at human lives as dispensable, and that's disgusting. This whole process is totally disingenuous. At minimum, I would say not even just signs for the crossing, but a hot crossing. And that's bare minimum. And this is not much to ask for. And this is also what leads us to where we can no longer even trust the system and we have to do petitions. So I'm thank you for your time. Well, actually, no, thank you for your time. We should never have even gotten to this point.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, that concludes our citizens' comment today.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe there's not an action item. However, I think I would like to see maybe some kind of routine update on what's happening around the Human Services campus. Is there a way to do that? And I'm not sure which subcommittee that would go to.
Chairwoman Stark, I believe that would be the Community and Cultural Investment Subcommittee that normally hears issues related to homelessness, and we'd be happy to provide a regular update through that venue. Another opportunity is just general information reports through the council packets, which we do on other items as well. So we're open to your preferences regarding that, but we would be happy to provide regular updates on our progress. This is a priority to us as well, and we very much care about the dignity of those who are experiencing homelessness in our community.
Thank you. Perhaps you could work with the chairwoman of that subcommittee to see what you might want to do. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. Let me see what she would like to do, but I think at least give us general information reports on a routine basis would be very helpful. Are there any other comments or questions from the rest of the subcommittee?
I do have just a couple of quick
Yes.
Please.
Council. Okay.
The task force that was formed, when was that formed?
Chairwoman and Council Member O'Brien, the Strategies to Address Homelessness Task Force began its work in January of 2021. I'm getting my years mixed up for some reason. And we have facilitated the work of that group. They have completed their recommendations, and we're preparing to work with them to go to the CCI subcommittee, hoping to do that in April.
Okay, I do want to say thank you for getting the additional bins out. Our last time I heard this, or we talked about the trash bins in a different committee, I believe, are they getting full? The comment was that they're not full when they're getting picked up.
I'd like to defer this to Joe Gides.
Chairwoman, Councilmember O'Brien, good morning. We added additional bins for convenience. Now, we have had, I think, 2 incidents in the last month where on a Monday morning, there was at least one bin that was overfilled, and we are looking into that as we believe there may be some material being brought in from elsewhere. But nonetheless, we did determine that adding additional containers for convenience as the population in the area continues to grow and move and shift made the most sense. And again, working with the campus on their special permit to add those additional containers and service them, we believe will also be an additional solution.
Okay, thank you, Joe. The additional storage lockers that are at Andre House, do we have any idea how many there are?
Chairwoman, do you know, Scott? Chairwoman, Councilmember O'Brien, we don't have the exact number right now for the number of storage lockers at Andre House, but we'd be happy to provide that information once we find out.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Our next item is call to the public.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, we do not have anybody registered for call to the public.
Okay. And then lastly, future agenda items. Does anyone have any request? All right, then we are adjourned. Thank you so much.